This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 2nd day of November in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The month of October has emerged as the deadliest month for the coronavirus pandemic in Guyana, with 44 deaths being recorded in 31 days. 2 deaths have already been recorded since the start of November, according to the Ministry of Health. The COVID-19 death toll in the country has now reached 128. The month of September was the previous deadliest month. A total of 41 persons passed away from COVID-19 in that month. Based on the figures provided by the Ministry of Health, 85 of the 128 COVID-19 deaths took place in the past 2 months alone. In figures released today, Guyana has recorded 30 new cases of coronavirus. The Ministry of Health and the government continue to come under criticism from the opposition over their failure to stem the spread of the virus and prevent deaths. There are still more than 800 active cases of coronavirus in the country, with the majority of those persons in home isolation. The opposition APNU-AFC has accused the government of focusing more on reopening the country rather than stemming the spread of the virus. With effect from yesterday, the national curfew hours were reduced, with the curfew now beginning at 10:30 at night and running until 4 o'clock in the morning. Additionally, gyms are now allowed to reopen with 50% of the capacity, and teachers and students in Forms 4, 5, and 6, along with those attending vocational and technical schools, are set to return to the classrooms from next Monday. Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony, in his daily updates for the government's Department of Public Information, has not been discussing the death toll. He has, however, noted that public hospitals are going to be returning to their regular surgery routine, which was affected by the pandemic.
Many of the planned surgeries were deferred since March, for not only in Region 2, but in several of the regional hospitals. So we are working on a plan, so during this month, we will return to planned surgeries for all of our hospitals, including the Georgetown Public Hospital. So you can imagine if we weren't doing planned surgery since March, that there would be an extensive backlog. And so in discussions with the RHOs and some of the persons directly in charge of these departments, we are trying to figure out ways and means of how we can clear some of this backlog of cases.
Guyana recorded its first case of coronavirus in March. The country has recorded more than 4,000 other cases since then. More news coming up in a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people, we have
weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We
are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
The glorious days of shopping are back on Ravinas on Water Street and Anans on Regent Street. Now in stock are over 20 beautiful designs of vinyl and over a dozen gorgeous designs in rubber tile for your homes, offices, or work. We have over 16 attractive colors of leatherette for covering furniture. For fast and comfortable shopping, visit us to get the best prices in town. That's Ravinas on Water Street and Anans on Regent Street.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global Technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how Global Technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts. The world changed, and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Special and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Well, despite concerns being expressed across the country, the Ministry of Education is moving forward with its plans to reopen schools for secondary school students in Forms 4, 5, and 6 from next Monday. Students attending technical and vocational schools are also expected to return to the classrooms next Monday. Education Minister Priya Manik-Chan said the decision was made by Cabinet and care packages will include sanitizer and face masks, and those will be made available for students and teachers.
We have procured masks and face shields and sanitizing products and vitamin support for our teachers and for our students who are to return care packages. Thermometers will be provided to all schools. Adequate signage and information has also been acquired and will be widely available and conspicuously posted.
The move by the government comes as the country is seeing an increase in coronavirus cases and deaths. October is now the deadliest month for the pandemic. 44 deaths were recorded last month. 2 deaths have already been recorded for this month. The education minister said it is important for there to be face-to-face interaction between students and teachers, adding that the education ministry will ensure all safety guidelines are followed.
Regular temperature checks, frequent cleaning of schools and adequate janitorial supplies, adequate cleaning staff, ongoing education about best practices for COVID safety will all be carried out.
Schools in Guyana have been closed since March, when the country recorded its first coronavirus case. While the ministry has been pushing online classes and TV classes, senior education officials believe it is important for students preparing for regional examinations to return to the classroom, so that those preparations could be fast-tracked. For the rest of this week, the Ministry of Education is expected to continue with its inspection of schools that are preparing for the return of students and teachers from next Monday. Former Finance Minister Winston Jordan has described recent statements and allegations made by the Attorney General about him as baseless and repugnant. During a recent statement, Nandlal announced that he intends to take legal action on behalf of the government against the former Finance Minister and the former head of NISIL over the sale of government lands at Ogle, claiming proper procedures were not followed. In a statement today, the former Finance Minister Winston Jordan said, "It is clear that the references made against him by the Attorney General are designed to impugn his character and tarnish his image." He reminded that he has worked in the public service on the various governments for over 35 years in different capacities. He said as finance minister in the coalition government, he performed his duties in compliance with the oath of office and to the best of his abilities. Jordan said based on advice from his lawyer, he would not delve into the matters raised by Nandlal, since that will be done at an appropriate time with evidence and facts. The Attorney General, in several statements to the media, has raised concern about the sale of government lands to various companies earlier this year as the country headed into elections. He said in many instances vesting orders were issued for the properties, although there was not full payment of the agreed sums. Most of the companies have since surrendered the lands back to the government, with some stating that they prefer not to be bogged down in any legal battle. Guyana launched Tourism Awareness Month virtually last evening, with Minister of Tourism Unish Waldron expressing confidence that the tourism sector in Guyana will rebound as it continues to grapple with the fallout from COVID-19.
The government values the partnership with all of its stakeholders, and we remain optimistic that the tourism sector will recover. If we remain committed to following all of the health and safety guidelines, we can experience all of the beauty that Guyana has to offer.
2020 was expected to be Guyana's big year in tourism, with a number of international magazines and travel sites promoting Guyana as a must-visit destination. The coronavirus pandemic changed all of those plans as the airline and travel industries were grinded to a halt for a number of months as the pandemic gripped the world. The tourism minister said the government will be working closely with hotels and other major players in the tourism sector to determine the way forward.
As you know, the tourism sector in Guyana has been hit very hard. The government of Guyana has committed to aiding the rebuilding and recovery of the sector through various stakeholders.
Mr. Waldron encouraged airlines and hotels to continue to follow the COVID-19 regulations, adding that she believes Guyana will recover well from the problems that have faced the industry this year. President Air Finale, in his statement to welcome Tourism Month, made similar views.
And to ensure that we comply with the COVID-19 guidelines, which are in place to keep our country, its people, and our visitors safe. We will beat this pandemic. Our tourism sector will emerge stronger and more resilient. Jobs will be restored and Guyana will continue to entice the world with its astonishing tourism product.
The Tourism Authority has planned a number of virtual events to celebrate and observe Tourism Awareness Month. The State Department of the United States has given approval for the sale of 4 helicopters to Guyana as part of a foreign military sale. Negotiations for the sale of the 2 Bell 412 and 2 Bell 429 helicopters started under the previous government and have now been completed. The Defense Security Cooperation Agency of the United States has delivered the required certification to notify the U.S. Congress of the sale. According to a statement from the U.S. Department, the government of Guyana has requested to buy the helicopters with custom unique modifications. Those modifications include special cameras. The U.S. government believes the sale will support the foreign policy and national security of the United States by helping to improve security of Guyana, which is expected to grow to be an important force for political stability and economic progress in South America, the statement added. It was also noted that the proposed sale of the helicopters will improve Guyana's capability to meet current and future threats. In the local airline industry now, Copa Airlines has restarted its service to Guyana from Panama. Copa was forced to suspend its services to Guyana back in March after the airports were closed because of the coronavirus pandemic. With its return, the Panamanian flag carrier will operate 1 flight per week between Panama and Georgetown, but the schedule is expected to see additional flights being added in the coming weeks. Copa has several connecting flights from its hub in Panama. American Airlines is also restarting its service to Guyana tonight and will be operating 6 flights per week. Like Copa, American was forced to suspend its Guyana operations because of the pandemic. Meanwhile, Caribbean Airlines has also announced that it will be operating services to New York, Toronto, and Barbados from Guyana. Additionally, JetBlue Airways is preparing to enter the Guyana market from December. Guyana reopened its airports to schedule services 3 weeks ago. Across the region is coming up next. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc.
The Christmas season is here once again, and we encourage everybody to be safe. Between October 23rd and December 31st, buy your groceries and fuel from Falls, and you can win a Christmas hamper every week or your fuel purchase free. Just spend $3,000, complete the coupon, drop it in the box, and then listen for your name. And to make it even better, you can win a bumper hamper on Christmas Eve day. Yes, our prices are great, the environment is safe, and everyone wins when you shop in the Falls Christmas promotion, Land of Canaan.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobile Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, Brazilians in the state of Sao Paulo have been protesting the move by the governor of that state supporting mandatory COVID-19 immunization and testing the potential vaccine developed by a Chinese company. The governor has previously spoken in favor of making immunizations mandatory once vaccines are available, sparking a spat with the President Jair Bolsonaro, who vows it will be voluntary. The Supreme Court's Chief Justice has said the court will ultimately decide on the issue. A number of vaccines are obligatory in Brazil, including, for example, hepatitis B, which is given to newborns. Brazil has had great successes with large vaccination campaigns in the past, eradicating polio in the 1980s, for example. In Sao Paulo, the vaccine by the Chinese company is being tested as part of Phase 3 clinical trials, with support from the government in that state. St. Vincent and the Grenadines has assumed the chairmanship of the United Nations Security Council. A statement from the island's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the one-month stint is the island's first and only presidency during the country's time on the UN Security Council and forms part of the island's responsibility as a non-permanent member. On November 4, the UN Security Council will host a meeting of the police commissioners of the UN peacekeeping missions intended to highlight issues affecting Haiti. St. Vincent and the Grenadines was officially elected as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council and officially assumed its position in January this year. That position will run for 2 years. And finally tonight, international news. The BBC reports that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are spending the final hours of the US election race pitching to voters in key states that could decide who will be the next president of the United States. President Trump has been visiting North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, while Joe Biden campaigned in Pennsylvania and Ohio, all battleground states. National polls suggest a healthy lead for Mr. Biden in tomorrow's election. But the BBC reports his lead is narrower in the handful of states that could decide the result. More than 96 million people have already cast their ballots in early voting, putting the country on course for its highest turnout in a century at elections. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.